I was just kidding. I was just Googling ghosts. And it just pops up with all the ghost shows that are irritating as hell.
Yeah, they are pretty irritating and cringy. But really what made me think of wanting to talk about it today is the last podcast we did. Before we got into like the consciousness and the dreams thing, we touched on the paranormal just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got me thinking about like
Ghost shit.
ghost stuff. So, I know we talked about how you believe in ghosts, but I don't.
I don't believe that you don't.
Well, this is my
Because
stance
if
on it.
you say, I don't believe in ghosts, that means you're saying...
Well, here's the only reason I don't believe in them, though, is because I've never had a paranormal experience and I have never seen them. And you know how I am. I'm a very, like, logical person. Like, I have to make things make sense.
So do you believe in gravity?
Yeah, I do.
You can't see it.
But I'm at least open to the idea of ghosts. And let me explain. I'm going to rant here for a minute, but let me explain my reasoning.
You can rant. Just, let me have time to interject.
Okay. So, radio waves, for instance, they are everywhere. We use them. We can measure them. We know they exist. Can you imagine explaining radio waves to somebody 400 years ago? They would look at you like you're a fucking witch and accuse you of witchcraft.
Yeah.
So when it comes to ghosts, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that maybe there is an actual explanation for what ghosts are, and maybe we just don't have like the basis of the understanding yet. Like, I think
are you thinking more on a science level of what they are? Like it's going to be something along the lines of radio waves, because ghosts have been around. They're a tale as old as time. Sorry, I have to do that when I say tale as old as time.
What's that from?
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, sorry,
No.
I don't know Disney.
You're uncultured.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess that's
Disney
my
hater.
that is my stance on ghosts. Is I'm willing to believe in them. I don't believe in them, but I do. I think there's going to be like some, if they do exist, there has to be some kind of like scientific explanation as to what it is and like how they manifest in this world. And I'm not saying it. Radio waves is just an example. I guess I'm just saying is that there is a possibility that they exist and we just don't understand the context in which it exists, or we don't have the understanding we don't have like the scientific basis to even begin to understand it yet, maybe.
Yeah, but some things aren't always necessarily meant to be understood. There's other things in the world that we don't understand.
Oh, of course.
Why stuff happens. Does anyone really know how a dog's mind works? There's no way to ever know.
Oh, yeah. Well, that goes back to the consciousness discussion we were having.
Because you can go on behavior and stuff for animals and whatnot, but you can't, ever truly understand them.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to know if a ghost is like if you become a ghost because you're unsettled, you're a restless spirit. Of course, that's all theories. But I believe in ghosts.
Yep. So I figured this would be a good conversation to have because I'm excited. I'm excited for our future episodes that we're about to make.
So, Mr. Logical, in your life, not once, ever in your life, have you seen or heard something weird that you couldn't explain?
No. Not that I questioned.
Weird. You never heard the footsteps coming down in that room in your parents' house?
No.
Dude, it was like at witching hour every night.
Nope. Never heard anything. I've never had a paranormal experience.
So what would you say I was hearing then?
I don't know.
No, but if you were trying to logically explain to someone.
I mean, that house is really old. The wind blows and it'll creak and make noises when the wind blows.
You know what else is common with old houses?
What?
They're haunted.
Yeah. that is something that I'm also excited about too. We are in the perfect location to do these next
spooky stuff
episodes. Because New England is just filled with haunted places.
There's these YouTube BuzzFeed guys that do they do like ghost hunting. They go to places and they have all the equipment and stuff. And I like these two because one is super like does not believe in ghosts. Like will try and explain everything, even when weird stuff does happen. Of course, now their stuff is a TV show, so I'm sure that things are embellished as most ghost shows do. And like the Bigfoot shows or the I know. We're not talking about Bigfoot anymore. We already have a conversation about this, Jake. It was a brief mention. Or the mermaid ones, or. There's that thing that they do in all those shows. They embellish it or they make it so there's evidence or speculation. So it's hard to say, but I like these two, not podcasters, but this YouTube series because one believes in ghosts and is terrified the entire time, and one is just like, it's just the wind.
Yeah. Yeah, I found out, like, a lot of those shows, too, are really, especially, like, the Bigfoot ones, like they're just not true at all. Like, I had a friend of mine
they're, like, almost to a cheesy point there.
Yeah.
But there's some ghost ones that do a really good job that, like, yeah, it could be embellished, but yeah, it could have been something creepy.
Yeah. Like, I had a friend of mine who, he was a wilderness guide, and he got hired by a filmmaking company up in the Pacific Northwest to take out this film crew to an area where, like, there might have been, like, a Bigfoot sighting. And when they went out there, they were looking for, like, this cabin, and there was this area that you had to rock climb down into. Like, that was the only way into the valley. And when they got down there and didn't find a cabin, they just, like, planted evidence of a cabin so their story would, like, cooperate. He said it was the dumbest shit that he had ever seen. But, yeah. I don't know what show it is. It probably didn't even air. But
have you ever been to a place and had an uneasy feeling?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm an anxious person anyway, so.
Yeah, so explain, like, think of one and explain to me what made you uneasy about that. Like, a certain scenario, what made you uneasy? Doesn't have to be ghost related.
I mean, obviously there was my time in the Middle East. Not millions.
Yeah, an unsteady.
A lot of unsteady feelings.
Would you say that it's pretty, like, it's almost a natural reaction that your body has, right? To be uneasy in a certain situation, you know, like if you see somebody who doesn't, like, you're out walking the street, you see someone who's, like, kind of not with it, they might be on opioids or something, you get kind of uneasy, right? There's just a natural instinct in your body that makes you get uneasy. I have had that in spooky places.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. Not that I'm saying I don't believe you, but a part of me thinks that a lot of people's paranormal encounters also has to do with their willingness to want to see these things. You know?
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's the more you subject your mind to something, the more likely you're gonna see or hear or that kind of stuff. But also, that kind of just goes within the being open-minded about things, too.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think I'm still open-minded about it. I'm not straight... Like, as of right now, I don't believe in ghosts, but I could be persuaded if I have a paranormal experience, but I just never have. And I don't know.
And, so there's a specific story a relative of yours talks about. Like, I don't know if it was a silhouette or, like, an actual, like, person, or a shadow they saw, and they were smoking, and they believed it to be one of your deceased relatives from...
Yeah.
You know? So... Because you believe she saw it.
Yeah, I do. You know, everybody in my family has had a paranormal experience except for me. So, I don't know.
So do you think you're always open-minded to seeing that kind of stuff? stories you say. I know you're open-minded to believing, but I mean, I already said his name, but he won't watch scary movies. He won't go to haunted houses and that kind of stuff because he doesn't want to subject his mind to it. He goes, because he does believe. He believes in ghosts and stuff, but he doesn't want to see them. He doesn't want to have those experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, I don't know. Because I don't think I'm necessarily, like, I'm not that afraid of the idea of it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I'm, like, blocking it out and avoiding it. I don't know. But I guess that's just, maybe I'm too logical in the sense where it's like, unless I have, like, drop dead proof, I'm not even gonna, because maybe I have had, like, weird things happen, but my mind doesn't, and I just brush it off. My mind doesn't jump to paranormal. You know?
Well, I'd say I'm fairly superstitious.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
Like, with that stuff too, like, almost with a bunch of different things, like, I don't like when you spilt the salt the other day and you didn't throw it over your shoulder. It drove me crazy.
I think some superstitions are ridiculous. Like, I used to work in a hospital.
Well, some are common sense, too.
Yeah, I used to work in a hospital, and in the ER, all the rooms are numbered, and they skipped number 13. It went 12, 14 because of superstition. And I'm just like, why? That's crazy. But, I mean, enough people are superstitious that, but like, this institution is like, okay, we have to... It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I mean, think of what problem solving that is. Like, if you don't have a room 13, you can't have anyone arguing, no, I'm not going in that room.
True.
Because I guarantee they've had people like that. No, you can't put me in the 13th room.
Yeah, I doubt they did it right off the get-go. I imagine that they had enough people, like, freak out about it that they were like, fine, and they just changed it.
Well, and plus you imagine, like, you know, especially if people are, like, going in for surgery where there's that fear of death, too. And people believe in bad omens and whatnot. Some superstitions are just common sense. Don't walk under a ladder. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like the black cat superstition. That one doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just an animal lover, and I grew up with a black cat for 16 years. And he was the best.
I had a black cat as well, and he was cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, have you always been interested in, like, the paranormal and ghosts? Or did you have, like, an experience when you were a kid that, like, got you into it? Or, like...
Not an experience. Multiple experiences as a kid.
What's the earliest one you remember? Have you ever seen a ghost, or has it just been, like, weird stuff happen?
I've seen something.
Okay. What was it?
I'm not sure. It's, like, silhouetted.
Tell the story.
So, my grandparents own a pet cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which kind of gives the house a natural, like, creepiness. So, like, also as a kid, it really acquaints you with death pretty early on. Because pets are like family, right? And my grandpa would get all these people who are, like, mourning their pets, and he would take good care of them and put them in nice caskets and bury them and stuff. So that's something early on that, like, was just kind of weird. No, I didn't see ghosts of dogs or of anything like that. But that house, there was just something creepy about it. And I don't know why it was creepy, because my grandparents built the house. Because the property was just a cemetery first. And they built a house on it. You've seen the house. But the basement was very eerie. And I guess... it's the story I have is kind of hard to tell just because it wasn't when I lived there. We had moved kitty corner and had relatives that moved in. And there was such an evil presence there. And you could argue maybe it was my subconscious that knew something was wrong with one of those relatives. And, but there was a time I saw, so the lights didn't used to be on both sides of the basement. You'd walk down the stairs and you'd have to run down room and turn it on from over there.
Mm.
And so every time we were leaving the basement, because our parents were the very big, stop spending electricity, turn the lights off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense. I could kill you because I don't think that you were told that. Or you just didn't listen.
I definitely was. I just didn't listen.
Because you leave lights on all the time.
Yep.
But, and we would shut the light off and we would run. And they used to tell us, don't look back. And one time I looked back and there was something standing there. At least 6 feet. But it was like dark, so it was like a darker silhouetted thing. Because there aren't I think just the window wells. So, of course, it was always like when we were having a sleepover or something.
How old are you?
Like 7 or 8.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's spooky, being that young.
But it's also hard to remember that far back, too. So, remembering the exact... But I've had some near-death experiences where I felt like, maybe not near-death, but like in trickier, like enough to scare you and be like, I gotta get out of this situation or it's gonna be bad. Where I felt like I've had help.
So, you think that some of the paranormal experiences you've had aren't always negative, that you've had like positive ones as well?
Oh, yeah, no. I think it's like 50-50. Honestly, I've probably felt more positive than negative. It probably is more like 60-40. But, like, I believe there's a reason people think they have guardian angels. I just don't necessarily consider them guardian angels. I just think spirits of, like, loved ones who passed and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Whether they exist or not, that's a good thing to think of, too, is just thinking that somebody's looking out for you, you know? That's a good way to kind of get through hard times.
And, like, with all that mind stuff we were talking about, too, it's like, a lot of things are mind over matter. Yes. Your mind's a very powerful tool.
Yep.
So, maybe I didn't have any extra help that I thought I had. It could have just been my mind that like, said, oh, they're here with you. You know, like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm saying like a lot, like that one time that you did it for like the whole podcast.
Oh yeah, the last podcast we did, I definitely did a bunch, but
you did.
Like, I just said fuck it and.
No, but there was one that was really bad. I think it's the one we did in Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a few drinks.
We had a few, yeah. Probably gets worse then, but then when I think about it more, I'm like thinking of not trying to say it, and I say it more. Because I put it in my head.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's easy to do that when you're trying to describe something or tell a story and recall a story.
Yeah.
You'll say it without even realize you're saying it. But it's not a huge deal as long as the point gets across, I think it's fine. But people get over it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I've also been in a place where I felt a hand on my shoulder.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's probably the freakiest one.
When that happened?
I wish I could remember the place. It was in Colorado, and it had a lot of Native American superstitions around there. And it was like a burial ground.
Oh, yeah. There's one of those in my hometown.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, yeah. It didn't feel negative, but it was enough to freak me out.
Yeah, this place in my hometown, there's a road, and back in, like, the 60s, I think they found a Native American burial ground down there, and they exhumed all the bodies, and they relocated them. They did something. Mm-hmm. However, fast forward to, 40 years later, there was a house at the end, like the very last house on that street got abandoned. And then whoever owned it just left it and let it fall down. So, like, I don't know the story, and, like, the people that I at least grew up with didn't know the story either, but everybody knew that was a really creepy road.
There was a way we could find out.
Yeah, the house is gone now. I've been down there since, and the house it's been torn down. But
has anything been rebuilt?
No. There's other people who live on that road, though, and I don't think they have any weird things.
It's kind of a weird road.
Yeah.
Because I
we've been down it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Did we take it to get to Rings, don't we?
Yeah, it's down that way.
Okay, then I know exact, because I think you've pointed it out before. Mm-hmm. There's something about those houses in that road that have always been kind of... Even when we're at Rings, I feel like we're being watched, whether it be by the people who own the houses, or I feel eyes on me. I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
That's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, I've had that before, where I feel like I'm being watched. But that's usually because I am being watched. Like, I've had that feeling before, and then I find somebody looking out the window.
Isn't that a crazy thing, though?
Yeah.
It's almost creepier to think that you're actually being watched.
Yeah.
Because I think it's creepier because, like, what happens when you, like, feel that and you don't see someone watching you? Who's watching you? You know, maybe they're just hidden. Peeking out their little blinds or something, but you don't know.